But he takes a pawn on e5, so I'm down 3 pawns. I'm just straight up down 3 pawns here, but I have all of the developments in the world. The rooks, the bishops, the knight, everything is in his position. I sacrifice 3 pawns for a crushing attack. This is round 2 of the PA Amateur Championship. It's game of 75, delay 5, and I am playing a 1900 Kevin Shen. I actually played him in a Blitz tournament before, and I had a pretty good position. I was pushing for most of the game, and then I blundered it all away, as often happens in Blitz. But now I'm playing him in a long classical game, and I'm feeling pretty good about my chances because I got a good position in Blitz against him, and he's a young teenager, I think. So, but it's still gotta play, and we'll see what happens. So I start out with e4, and he plays the French defense, and I play very principally. I put 2 pawns in the center, and after he plays e5, after he plays d5, then I play e5. So I just take the extra space in the center, making it harder for black to develop. But usually French players are happy to see the advanced variation. As a Kara player, I'm happy to see the advanced variation too. Like I like it when white tries to take the maximalist approach. And that's what I'm kind of doing with the advanced variation. He plays c5, striking back at the center. I defend my center, and we both develop our knights. He plays bishop d7. There's a few moves that... the 2 main moves are bishop d7 or queen b6. Those are the main 2 moves. He plays bishop d7. I play bishop d3. So we're both playing very, very normal moves. And now he plays takes. So this is a good move order. Sometimes my opponents play queen b6 and then I take on c5. Because playing queen b6 and bishop d7 without taking on d4 is an inaccuracy, because I can take on c5 and push my queenside pawns with tempo. So usually that's pretty good for white, or decent for white, I should say, at the very least. But he takes on d4 and then plays rook c8. And it's been a long time since I've looked at this. And you think, what are the pros and cons of taking on d4 so early? One of the pros for me is that now the c3 square is open for my knight. Before, I could never put my knight on c3, but now I can put my knight there. And the cons is that I no longer have a pawn on c3, and it doesn't control the b4 square, and my pawn on d4 isn't as supported as it otherwise would be. So I castle, and he moves his queen out, attacking the pawn, and I play knight c3, my first pawn sacrifice. And it's just a free pawn. But my point is, I'm claiming, bro, you aren't even close to castling. And he's saying, I don't care, a pawn's a pawn. So I take, he takes, now I play knight b5. I'm targeting the d6 square. I'm attacking the queen. And he cannot take me because I would take back with the check. And now his queen, he's going to lose his queen. So knight b5, the first tricky move. He can take the pawn on e5 if he wants to. But now I'm going to play rook e1, x-raying the king on the open file. And where he's going to go. If he goes queen f6, I honestly don't really remember what I was supposed to do. Genuinely. I was like, what am I supposed to do against this? Like, because I've seen this position before. And the main move is queen b8, controlling this diagonal. And then white will play g3 to play bishop f4. And like a move like a6, for example, would be losing because of bishop f4 coming with tempo. And like, black's position is completely ravished. And that's really the issue with this opening, is that like, or for black, that's black's issue. Is like black is so underdeveloped. All these black squares are so holy. So it's definitely hard to play for black. But I wasn't 100% sure what I would play if he played queen f6. I was thinking about maybe a move like bishop e3, controlling the d4 square. So if he did take, I could consider playing bishop d4 perhaps. Or I could even play rook b1 here. And I still have a lot of pressure in this position. So I don't know if that's... I think this is totally fine too. And if he takes here, I mean, he's up 4 pawns, but I don't believe in this 1 second. I probably take this pawn. And if rook c7 defending the pawn, then I can go bishop f4 probably. and I'm going to slowly win back a couple pawns, and he's still not developed at all. And another thing to keep aware of in this position is that with the rook on e1, this d5 pawn is hanging because the e6 pawn is not defending it. So just like a tactical thing to be aware of, that's if this bishop moves, then this pawn will be hanging. But he does not take the pawn on e5, which is the main move, and you know, it is supposed to be like around equal or something like that if black defends correctly, but he plays queen b4. And I thought for a long time here, and I knew in the open, like, okay, I need to take my time because like the French is very tricky. All the different move orders black can play, and if you mess up in the advanced French, you're just going to lose in the endgame. You're just going to lose. Black's pawn structure is so solid, and like white is a bit overextended here, and black just has very easy play if queens get traded off and if we go into an endgame. I think for 16 minutes on bishop d2. I loved both a3 and bishop d2. And I thought both were good, but I wasn't sure which one was better. a3 has a little bit more options, just a little bit. He can go queen a5, and then I can go b4. Except in this case, I cannot because I have to worry about bishop b4. So I probably have to go bishop d2 and queen d8. And I was like, this position is very good for me. I could go rook c1. I could even go rook e1 if I wanted to. I could go h4. Well, probably not h4. But honestly, it might still be good because white is so ahead in development. Like I got to this position in my head, and I'm like, dude, this has got to be good for me. And I'm only down one pawn in this position. But then I thought, well, bishop d2, and he doesn't even have the option to go to a5. And if he goes to queen h4, I believe he's so close to getting trapped. Actually, maybe he doesn't actually get trapped at all. For some reason, I thought he did. At a bare minimum, I could consider knight takes a7, and if he attacks my knight, I can go bishop e3 perhaps, although then d4 happens. That's kind of annoying. Because if he doesn't attack my knight, then like I can just go bishop e5, and I want to keep his king in the center here. Force his king to stay in the center. Although I don't know if this move order is good. I don't remember what I was going to do if he went to h4. But I do win more time. Like queen h4, I could just consider rook c1. That seems pretty decent. And like if we just try to develop in, then I'm going to trade and then play knight c7 check, and the king cannot castle. Although, in this case, I can just go here. I mean, yeah, if knight e7. So it's really hard to make a move for black. But I do play bishop d2, and he does take on b2. So I like both a3 and bishop d2, but I decided bishop d2 was a bit better and a bit more forcing because now he has the option to take on b2. And now I'm going to play rook b1, and now I'm eyeing the b7 square. And if what I really want to do is just infiltrate on the 7th rank, trade off the light square bishops once I have my queen and rook ready to infiltrate, and then just kill him. Kill him. Like before any of these pieces can move, kill him. But he takes the pawn on e5, so I'm down 3 pawns. I'm just straight up down 3 pawns here, but I have all of the developments in the world. The rooks, the bishops, the knight, everything is in his position. By rook e1, he goes back with his queen back to b8. And if we instant rewind here, if he took the pawn on e5 immediately at rook e1 and queen b8, what's the difference? So I was thinking to myself, okay, this position could happen, and this is good for white. Or at least equal for both black and white. And I go, but then we go to this position, same position. You go here. There's just, the only difference is that the rook is on b1 and is on an open file. And white's down 3 pawns instead of 2. And I was like, this has got to be good. Like, this has got to be good. Like, there's no way that this is bad. And it's very telling. Like, all these pieces on the back rank, it's so ugly. And I don't care if I'm down 3 pawns. I can make this work. He plays b6, or I play g3. So I know in G3 in the other position is played. If we just took the pawn, if we just took the e5 pawn immediately and then went back to queen b8, I know G3 was good there. And I was trying to come up with an idea. I couldn't quite come up with something. I couldn't quite come up with anything else. And I thought just simply controlling the diagonal made a lot of sense. If he plays the move f6, he can't. Because of queen h6 or queen h5 check and g6, then I can take, and I take the rook on h8. So if he plays f6, then he won't be able to castle, and his king's stuck in the center forever, and life is great. Life is wonderful. Life is great. So, at first, after g3, I was worried about f6, but then I realized, oh, he can't play it. He could also play a move like e5, like trying to go e4, but like, you're not really threatening anything because my rook x-rays your king, and it feels so wrong. Like, even though black has this beautiful big center, it seems way too weak for me, so I wasn't worried about that either. So I thought g3 was a very good move. He plays b6, and his idea is that he's going to allow bishop f4 and just go queen b7. And now he has a very, I'm down 3 pawns. I have a lot of activity, but his position is very solid. So, like, how do you break through? How do you break through? Well, I want to control the dark squares even more. I play rook c1, because if he takes, then he cannot stop the knight from getting in to c7 and forcing the black king to stay in the center forever. And it's really hard to play. So, like, knight f6, check. Let's say king d8, for example. White is still down 3 pawns, but it's still good. Maybe bishop a6 would be a good move here. Queen c6. Be careful. Yeah, it's not super easy for both sides here. Really hard to play. Like, I could definitely still go on to lose this game because I'm still down 3 pawns. So, but he doesn't trade rooks. He plays bishop c6. And after I played rook c1, I really started thinking about the idea of, like, if he played bishop c6, I can sacrifice the knight on a7, and after queen takes, and I can play rook takes, sacrificing the rook, sacrifice the knight, sacrifice the rook, and after rook takes, bishop b5, pinning. I thought, okay, he can defend it with queen a8, queen b7, or queen d7, or king d7, and I was like, okay, and like he can play knight e7 later, but then he blocks in his bishop, but he seems really, really stuck, and I can put a lot of pressure on him. And so, after he played bishop c6, I was like, okay, I'll just play it. This was an absolutely horrible choice, and I'm just dead lost. Like, I just lost the game. It was a crazy turnaround. It was a crazy like instead of knight takes a7, one idea is to literally just play knight d6 and say, your king's stupid. I think this is a totally legit way to play. And I could even move my bishop next. Well, maybe not move my bishop next. Like, maybe he could play knight e7. And then I could play queen h5. And if he plays g6, I can play queen h6. And this game is going to be going on for a long time. And his king is going to be in the center. And I'm going to try to keep this rook in the corner. So even though I'm down 3 pawns, I'm going to claim, hey, you're down a rook because your rook is stuck in the corner there. So that's going to be my hope in this game. Note that if he went knight g6, that I could like take, and this pawn is pinned. So he got to take like this, and then he loses the pawn here. The pawn on e6. And life is looking very, very good. For sure. So I really do think knight d6 was just a good move. But instead, I just sacrificed a piece, and I'm just down a rook and a knight. Well, I guess I got my minor piece back, so I'm just down a rook and 2 pawns. He defends his rook. I attack his rook. He defends his rook. I attack his rook. He defends his rook. Game over. I'm out of gas. And yeah, I was very upset at myself. I was extremely upset at myself. And I was like, I can't believe I just lost the game like this. I just lost the game. And I played on. And there are definitely some tricks in the position. If he does not play f6 on the next move, I think I have it. I think I have the game. For example, queen e2. Let's say plays me like h6. Queen e5. And I think I win. Oh, sorry, excuse me. If you go knight g6, attacking the queen, I go check. The rook is pinned. He moves the king. I take. I win. What else do? You could get out of the pin. Maybe. And I'm going to take. Knight takes and queen c7. And I win. I'm done. If you move your queen out of danger, then this is just simply checkmate. So, yeah. But the issue is that whatever I do, he has f6. I even consider like queen e2, f6, rook e1, e5, takes. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. I also considered after f6, I play queen g4, pinning the pawn to the king. And I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. But then maybe he plays g5. Maybe that's not good for him. Maybe I can play rook here, perhaps, because he's in a pin. But then he can get out of it. And I'm like, okay, what did I accomplish here? You know, I'm still down a rook at the end of the day. Although in this case, I guess I could take like this. But then he takes. And then... oh, this works out for me because the knight's actually pinned. So there are definitely ways to be tricky. So maybe I should have like f6 and queen g4. He could also play h5 here. After queen h3. And now he could consider king e8. And he could just give back the exchange because he's still up 2 pawns and a knight in this position. So you could also consider that too. And you know, g5's on the way, and like, so he could definitely consider that if he wants to. But yeah, I think for like 40 minutes here, because I'm in a dead lost position, and I just realized that like a move ago. And I play queen b2. Out of desperation. Once again, if he doesn't play f6, I win. But he plays f6. My other idea is that, hey, I'm targeting this b6 pawn as well. I play bishop e3. And let's say he plays like g6 or something like that. Then I could consider taking and then taking the pawn on b6. But even this is not enough. I ran out of gas. My pieces, this last remaining minor piece, can't do enough damage to him. So I'm really lost. But I didn't have any options. He gives back the piece because the end game he's up 2 pawns. Well, in this case, he's only up 1 pawn. But he simplifies. He forced simplifications because I have nothing better to do. And he just wins his endgame very, very easily by putting his rook, attacking my pawn. I have to defend it. He expands the center. I play a pawn move so I can bring my king closer to the center. And he expands a bit more. So now I can't go king e2 because that would be a fork defended by his rook. And I have no moves to play. And here I just resign. Yeah, this game was pretty brutal. I felt pretty emotionally... that was emotionally tough, I should say. Emotionally tough. It was not as bad as my last year at the PA Amateur Championship. I lost to a 1600 in the second round. And I was really hurt. And I was like the second to last game done that round. And it was bad. But... you know, I wasn't too upset at this game because, well, I was upset at this game because I beat myself. Like, yeah, I mean, my opponent deserves to win if I'm going to make horrible sacrifices like that. I just couldn't believe it when I did it. I just couldn't believe it. Like, how did I not calculate it? Like, I just didn't even use my brain. Like, my brain malfunctioned. Like, that sacrifice, like, why was I so overconfident about that sacrifice? Like, I didn't even calculate. Like, I was too overconfident in that position, and that rarely happens. But whatever, it happens. It happens, I guess, to the best of us and the worst of us. So I want to hit the game review, and I will see you guys in the next one.